Hey guys, another day of chess discussions. So I'll be showing two games today, ones which I played recently. Both were in the 1500s. So let's see how the first one goes. In the first game I was playing white. I opened with e4 and my opponent tried from the corner with their bishop opening. So I basically created a pawn chain over here so as to make the attack ineffective of the white bishop out there. Now this was the first blunder which the engine has set, because the fact that if the opponent would have played in the way that the engine recommends, this would have been a problem over there, because the pawn is already in the e4 square and I did not take up this pawn. The idea was that if I would have taken this pawn, I thought that it would have unnecessarily led to the development of the knight over here. But the thing was, if as the engine shows one movement, and either he would have had to bring in extra protection or else the knight would have gone back. But then that was my thought process, so I decided to take this pawn forward. I created another pawn chain over here, and this is another blunder which the engine says clearly, because I was not only creating a lot of gaps over here, on top of that I was also making my king pretty weak right in the center. And as you can see, the opponent had places where he could penetrate the defense of white here. Now, but here's where the first blunder happened by the black. Now here this knight was being protected by the queen, but the risk here was, since I was here, I could have gone on to attack the pawn in g7, which probably would have required some other movements. I guess the black didn't want that, and so they wanted to, basically my understanding was they might have overlooked this bishop protection over here, and then they wanted to probably do a trade-off and create a more stable structure. As you can see right now, again the kind of thing which I did earlier, wherein I was creating a structure which made it pretty easy for the knight to enter and exit. Now black was also in a similar position for my knight to enter and exit at this point. Now also I had created a rook and a queen chain over here to attack, and the engine basically is now suggesting that it could be a problem. So the engine was telling the king to move further away so as to escape in this, either in this g file into g6, or else probably move the pawn and move further away. Now this is where the final blunder happened. And this is where the black piece is resigned. Overall it was a game of inaccuracies, but I think it went quite well. The next game is actually a very short game. It's one of those games which has this opening tactics kind of thing, and it just happened that it worked this time. Usually it shouldn't work, but this time it worked, so I will show you what happened. So I was again playing white over here this game. Started with e4, e5, and then typical openings that you will see with the rook and with the knight and the bishop. Now since the development was in such a position that the f7 pawn had become weak, one of the ways to protect that pawn would have been for the knight to move to h6 and then do a castling, so that this would have this movement would have rendered ineffective, which is what they did. But typically engine also even here at this point recommends that I should make a backward movement, because at any point in time my knight could be affected. I could lose this knight, even with one wrong complication I could have lost. So engine was basically recommending that I should move back, but then I wanted to try something. I brought my queen into the attack. I was trying to create a triple pressure over here on this f7 pawn, with my bishop, with my knight, and with my queen. I basically wanted to see what would happen, and yeah, it wasn't going to be very effective over here, since the engine is clearly recommending that I should have, that the black queen enters into this attack, so that way it would nullify whatever is happening over here. But then they tried something else. Even now they castled, and even now it's still the same. It's not very much of a dangerous position. But here's where I tried something interesting. My understanding was that if this pawn is being protected by the rook and the king and the knight over here on h6, but typically players don't want to lose their rooks. So the usual pattern of attack would be I take either with my rook, with my bishop or knight, which have equal value, and then the opponent would first start by taking it with the knight instead of the rook, because it has got higher value out there. And that's exactly what our opponent did. So, but the thing was, since my queen was here and my knight was here, there was also a chance of an attack on the h5, and that was what I was hoping to do. And as you can see, this move, why the engine is being recommended to be a big mistake. Ideally, the rook should have taken this bishop, but like I said, humans tend to do human things, so they took with the knight first, and that was the direct checkmate. So it's a pretty short game. These kinds of things don't tend to happen, and like I said, sometimes the engine recommendations are what is called as the most logical way forward, but humans don't always think totally rationally. They tend to bring in emotions as well. So all of those things exist. There were a lot of other games as well which I played, and in some of the games which I lost, and I was not exactly in the right frame of mind. I was pretty sleepy, I was exhausted. These things tend to happen, and we need to incorporate all of those as well while playing games. So thank you.